at the top, you see an African, woolly head African. Now there's different levels to the woolliness, but primarily all Africans have woolly hair, curly hair, spirally hair, coily hair, however you want to deal with it. You see, primary to different degrees, but mostly got a tight curl. Okay, now what you're looking at next to it at the top, the second photo, you see an albino. And that's our albino. That's an African albino. Still look African, still woolly hair. Just lack melanin. Okay, that was a mutation. A deficiency or mutation, but that's still an African. And then what you got to the third, that's a Khoisan. And many people think that, the Orientals and, slant out. No, the Khoisan is the first people on the planet with a slant eye. Long before a damn Oriental. Okay, long before Oriental. And that don't mean that they mixed or anything. That mean they could come from particularly same type of areas. Okay? When, wind, I know the Khoisan is in that desert, and it might be a lot of wind and things saying you got the Kalahari Desert down there. So if it's a lot of sand blowing it, so on and so forth, and you squinch a lot over a period of time, a layer of fat will grow over. You understand? So you don't have to squinch. It'll protect your eyes from, blowing and things of that nature. And so on the very end, you see a Buddha from the Mount Khmer. You see the woolly hair on their head, and you see the slant island. People don't understand that the Khoisan that went all over the world, along with the little Twa. Now at the bottom, you start seeing people that didn't, whatever reason, they did not come from Africa. Okay, I'm not about to sit up here. They did not come from Africa because you don't see the gene. You don't see no straight head gene. You don't see no motherfucker looking like the Dravidian in Africa. Okay, I'm gonna be clear about that. You don't see no large, but you can go to India and you can find a large groups of, dark-skinned people with straight hair. Okay, and so when we looking at all other peoples with straight hair, well, you can see the second one is the albino, which is an albino Dravidian. Okay, that's an albino Dravidian, still with straight hair. And so you can see the de-evolution, you see, when you see the Chinese. And so we understand that based on melanin, that if the dark-skinned Dravidian had to been the first one, because you understand, you can't go from light to black. You can go from black to light, but you can't go from light to black. You see? And that's just the way that it is. And so you have to say, well, the black Dravidian was first, and then you see the albino, which is straight hair. Then you look at the Oriental, straight hair, Oriental, and you look at the Caucasian. All of them is off the same tree. So when I see niggas putting up some goddamn Indian, whether they dark or not, and I'm going to let you know, all them goddamn North American Indians, whether they was dark or whether they was white, because you can see that dynamic in India. You got Northern Indians, you got Southern India. But if you put them motherfuckers side by side, you can see that they come from the same stock. Ain't no goddamn doubt, but they still come from the same stock. So right here, when you look at, they show you the dark skin. And see, they gonna try to play you. Oh, the light, when all that dynamic, one motherfucker came from the south, one motherfucker came from the north. They both came from the same tree. Okay, they both came from the same goddamn tree. So when you look to the right, you see a Dravidian, straight-haired Dravidian, then you look, and now when you look at that Indian, he ain't just, he got some Chinese in him, he got some of that element in him, because they was all coming through that goddamn Bering Strait. You see, but that's the basis of who he is. He got that straight hair, his ass came, and they tell you they came through the Bering Strait. And so when we look on the other side of the Bering Strait, then we understand that you got the Indian, you got that motherfucking Mongolian, you got that damn that Slavic Russian, you got his ass up in there too. And so they're a combination of all that. Okay, so when you look at that damn Dravidian and you look at that so-called dark Indian, that's what the fuck they is. Okay, I don't know nobody getting no, because there's only really two peoples on the goddamn place. You got woolly hair, and then you got straight hair, and then you got an in between. But the woolly hair is the dominant. Because you know what I'm saying? Most time, if they do mix, they're going to have a curl. It's just going to be a looser curl. That do not make them African. That just means that's what come up out of the mixture. You see what I'm saying? There's only one African, and that's the one that originate on the continent of Africa. Okay? And so right here, you're looking at a northern Indian woman and a southern Indian woman. You can look in her nose and see, yes, the northern, the white Indian woman, you can see she's frail. You can see her bone structure is more frail. You see what I'm saying? But you can look in her nose, look in her eyes, and see they from the same tree. We're not getting over this. So when they show when they show the light Indian, North American Indian, they say, oh, that no, motherfucker, both of them was over here at the same time. They are the same tree. They are the same tree. So I don't want y'all to get it twisted. Again, showing you the Dravidians. These are and they are not us. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. They're not us. They don't possess our goddamn spirit. They possess a whole nother kind of spirit. They have all type of genetic deformities that do not come from Africa. So we need to clean this niggas accept anything. Any little riff-raff. Any little scum. You nigga just don't want to be. The Naga Kushite that I showed you was these ones like the one up at the top with that woolly hair that was there before the goddamn Dravidian got there. They not Dravidian. The Naga Kushite was there before the Dravidian. I don't know where it come from. But goddamn it, they need to go back. And they need to hurry up getting there. You see what I'm saying? And so, again, you seeing at the top, you seeing the so-called, and motherfuckers claiming this riff-raff. These are the so-called, dark-skinned Indian. And then at the bottom, you see his mama, the Dravidian. Okay? Now, let's get on down to it. What are some key things? We're looking at this map, and I'm going to keep it moving. When you look at this map right here, you see that the Olmec, you see the red was the core Olmec area, and they lying. They lying about the extent. I'm going to tell you right now, the Olmecs brought civilization. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Civilization on the highest degree to North and South America. See, what they gonna lie and make it seem like is that the Olmecs was just in that little red area, which is a fucking lie. You can see right there. That's how the statue look. For most people who ain't never seen the Olmec, already know that ain't no goddamn the Indian. That ain't got nothing to do with no goddamn Indian at all. That man right there, big lip, wide nose, and I'm saying it in a most, honor. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is an honor to look African and be African. You know what I'm saying? And so that brother is a god. You understand, that brought civilization to these continents over here. You see? And so now when you look at the core area, that was the primary area, because you have to also look at topographical maps, and you will see that was the best part. And all the rest of that shit up through there is the mountainous regions, and you know what I'm saying. And they did, migrate up in them areas, because if you expand, then you're gonna expand. But that was their core area, because it was the primal area of tropical lush regions. Right there off the water. And so right there in that the red, and then you see the lesser red. The lesser red, more pinkish looking red, was an area of cultural influence. This map right here is lying. Okay? They will not tell y'all that the extent of the Olmecs come not just in Mexico, up around the whole of the Gulf Coast. Of what we call the Gulf of Mexico, and coming into southern United States. And that's why when you start looking at the Mayan culture, That come out of the Olmec. That come out of the Olmec. Okay, that's why you see that the mound builders, the Mississippian culture, was off of the Gulf of Mexico. You get with them other Indians, so-called Indians out west, and they didn't have the mounds. The mounds were situated right off the Gulf of Mexico, and they went up the Mississippi as far as maybe, it's that, but off of the Mississippi River. And I believe Cahokia was, right around where St. Louis is today, is where, the extent of the Mississippian culture, it went even further north than that. But Cahokia was that one city that's the one thing that they hadn't seen cities like that. You see, they hadn't seen no urban areas like that. And so when you listen to them talk about, Cahokia, they act like it just came out of nowhere. Well, what happened? Because that influx of those Olmecs was coming up the Mississippi. See, when you go back to Africa, you see that our people mastered building civilizations on rivers. I don't care which one you choose, whether it's the Niger with Mali, Ghana, Sonke, whether it's the Nile with the white and the blue Nile. The blue Nile coming up out of Ethiopia with Aksum. Then you got the white Nile going all the way into the heart of Africa. You got Egypt and Nubia. And then you even got, the Zimbabwe. You got the Limpopo and you got the Orange River down south. You got the Great Congo River. And so, our people had mastered building river civilizations off of rivers. And so now, another key thing is that, when the Olmecs built their pyramids, the earliest ones at Levanta, at San Lorenzo, they were facing the Atlantic. They were facing Africa. You see, from which they came. They were facing, and I'm going to show you that it's not a coincidence. It's too many. They ain't even similarities. I'm not saying it's similar. It's the same damn thing. Okay? And we're going to show that. Now, this is a map showing color variation based on environment from lightest to darkest. You see? From lightest to darkest. And so when you go up to North America, I'm going to ask these silly niggas. When you say you're original, see, you didn't cut yourself off. It'd be one thing if I could respect saying African people was in North America first, because they was here first. There's no goddamn doubt, but they came from Africa. Okay, they didn't pop up out the ground like a radish without no genetic origin or connection to the origin or tropical environment that would produce that type of a people. So even when you look at the map, you see that in the tropical regions is what's going to produce the darker skin. And so when you look up at America and you look at the top, you're looking at a light people. If they would originate in that area, you're looking at a light people. Okay, you're not going to look at nobody that's, you know what I'm saying? So you look in Africa and you're looking at that equatorial area and all through there and going towards, Ghana and Mali and Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, and up in there, you see that dark, melanin in the map. All the way down through Uganda, Congo, into Kenya. You see what I'm saying? All up in there, there's even Somalia, Ethiopia. You see, all up and through there, you see that dark. So you see, that's the source. You see, that's where it's rich. That's the source. And as it moves down based on geography, and you talking about it ain't going to get too much goddamn lighter, even going down in the other regions. It might be desert today, but in the ancient world, it's proven that even North Africa was lush. And so now you're looking at the tropical zone. Now the tropical zone, the nations are in the red. And so that's when I start talking about the the great civilization, they came up in the tropical zone. Okay, even so, we just showed you the Olmec. You see Mexico, that's up in the tropical zone. It should have been some of that should be around the Gulf Coast too. Well, maybe not. It might be below the 30. It might be below 30 north. It might be below, but it's still. I mean, it would be subtropical, which is still hot as hell. You ain't gonna get no snow. You ain't gonna get no snow. It ain't probably ain't gonna drop down below maybe 75. It ain't gonna drop down. That's in the goddamn so-called winter. So when you talk about the tropical civilization, Olmec, Ghana, Mali, Songhai, Aksum, Ethiopia, Zulu, Great Zimbabwe, India, Sabine, Angkor Wat, Champa, all of these are the great civilizations that came up. It's just look at the number game. We got to play the number game. And even the other civilizations, if you consider Greece and Rome, they're on the Mediterranean. You see, they're on the Mediterranean. So that right there shows you the ingredients to get that, that civilization, and, the great civilization, because you got to master the food source. You got to master all of that before you can get to the high culture, the high civilization. Once you master your food source, your water, your clothing, your shelter, then you done master, and then that gives you the comfortability to elevate in the other areas of how you're learning. And so right here, you're looking at the Mississippian and related cultures. You see, and so you see it's in the South where, that Mississippi, and it went up the river. It went up the river and then come down the river. Civilization always moved from the South to the North, just like when we deal with Africa. It always moved from the South to the North. It didn't go no other way. There's no other way for it to go. People originated in the tropics, in the warmth, with food and water. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it happened. You don't see no goddamn civilizations coming up out the Ice Age. All you see is a ragged people. All you see is a ragged people. Can I help you repeat that? Try to okay. You see, and so there it is. And so I'm trying to, I tried to see if I could answer a question, but I ain't gonna answer that because we're gonna keep moving. You see, and so we're looking at, and we see that it's in the South when we talk about the mounds, and so you see that many of the pyramids of the Olmecs got a mound. The mound is up under the brick, but they were developed. They were more developed than just a mound. You see, they got the mound because once the stone fell from off of the pyramid, then you see the mound was all that was left. So we got to show development, family. We got to show development. And so here we're talking about urban life. So even in the maps, you see that the rest of the non-urban, agricultural life, you don't get no urban area. The first real urban area amongst the Indians was Cahokia. Now, taking in mind, our people was very instrumental in creating that, because you ain't just going to be wandering around, because you got to always show development, period. Just like when I show you the development of the pyramid, I show you the mastaba. You see, I show you the mastaba. I can even show you the one before the mastaba. The single story burial tomb. Then I show you Imhotep stack the mastabas to create the step pyramid. And then I show you Pepi at Meidum. He's trying to, seal the steps off and make it a true pyramid. But he failed. The outer casing fell down. I show you Sneferu at the Bit Pyramid, where he was trying to bring it to the true pyramid, and he failed in his endeavors on that particular pyramid. And so it began to crack before he could get to the top. And so he had to kind of, put a slant in the top of the pyramid so it wouldn't be so much pressure at the top that the whole damn pyramid collapsed. So they call it the Bit Pyramid. And then finally Sneferu created the Red Pyramid, which is the first true pyramid on the planet, and I'll show you the development. You don't just jump into no high damn development without without showing, the stages of how you got to that high development. So when you look at Cahokia, you see that, it damn near came out of nowhere. They didn't have another city like that. Why? Because there was a migration of a people who were already advanced on that level. If you can't show no development, the people who came the development was somewhere else. It wasn't where you see, Cahokia. The development took place somewhere else. Now we just got to identify where that place was. So when you look at you see urban life, that means you dealing with cities. You dealing with cities of a vast size. You get, and it's laid out. It ain't just, it's laid out on a city grid, demographic. Just like your city got different demographics. You got certain areas where you put your houses, certain areas where you put, you put your burials, and you got your temple complexes and so on. So it's laid out on a city grid. It's city planning. And so people are, vast numbers of people are living in these areas. So you see in Mexico and in Peru, and you're gonna see that's Olmec, and I'm gonna prove it. So we sure I don't have no time to be bullshit with niggas about no moccasins and no goddamn TPs and this, that, and the third. I'm dealing with high culture. We not living in fucking TPs today. We living in high culture. And I can prove that even what we living in today come out of Africa. And I'm sick of shit. I'm not gonna get no nigga no kind of slack. You bullshit, nigga. You bullshit. I respect the Naga Kushites. And I give them high praise. But I also show that the Naga Kushites compared to the Nile Valley Africans was in kindergarten compared to what was going on in the Nile. India is, you dealing with goddamn, you in the kindergarten, you in the first grade dealing with the Nile Valley Africans. And this is facts. It just is facts, and I'm gonna prove it hands down. India's another, and like I say, Naga Kushite. And I give respect, but I slap them at the same time to let them know, listen here, don't ever disrespect mama. Don't you ever do it, because nigga, I got these facts right here loaded up, and I'm gonna shoot them. I don't give a goddamn who don't like it. I don't give a goddamn if your feelings is hurt, nigga. You gonna have to get in your moccasins and jump on that goddamn or whatever you got, your little pony or whatever the fuck you got, and get on up out of Dodge. You understand what I'm saying? You cannot let these niggas get away with that. You first and foremost, y'all disrespected the African slave trade. That right there let me know, nigga, you're scantless. You understand? I mean, the slave trade happened, we could have been here in spite of the slave trade. Not that, it did not happen. And the crazy shit is about this shit, that they want to say that the white man tricked us into believing we came from Africa. And I stated this shit, and I stated the only way he could trick a motherfucker to thinking he come from Africa, he at least had to look like a goddamn African. How in the fuck he gonna trick you that you came from Africa if you didn't look like an African? If you saw a motherfucker if a motherfucker say, man, we didn't come from, we was always here, nigga. And what if they would have replaced Africa with China? Man, they tricked you, nigga. You didn't come from China, nigga. And if I look at a Chinese, I could easily see a Chinese don't look like me. So if he fooled me, how in the fuck can he fool me? You understand? He gonna have to do better than that. If the motherfucker he at least got to look like me for him to fool me into believing I come from somewhere if I did not come from there. Okay? So that fact alone just lets you know that there is some bullshit. And so if the African on the other side of the Atlantic and the so-called black Indian look alike, and you mean to tell me this one is original here, how the fuck they got the same traits? It's time to go into the DNA. It's time to go into the DNA, and even the white man will tell you, and I don't believe in that monogenetic shit, but goddamn, the facts is the facts. When you look at civilization in the Americas, it is on no level been here longer than it been in Africa. It's no way possible. No silly-minded nigga could believe that. I mean, you got to be you a nigga, not even a novice. You ain't even a novice. Nigga, you are going in the wrong direction to believe that. So you can see, I mean, any scholars can show you that Greece, Rome, Mesopotamia, India, all them civilized, there ain't no civilization on this planet that was not touched by the Nile Valley, by Africa. Okay? And so you looking here, you looking at the currents. You looking at the currents in the oceans. You see, showing that, you know, it's not, you know, in dealing with the fact that our peoples was great navigators on the planet any goddamn way. You see what I'm saying? Great navigators. We never walk no damn where. Every time they show you the migration of so-called humans on the planet, they always show you a motherfucker walking. What motherfucker about to walk from Africa to Asia? And for what goddamn reason would he leave a paradise to go through a desert and all these goddamn mountains and shit? What the fuck would make a motherfucker just up and start walking? You understand what I'm saying? Come on, man. Ain't nobody going, as soon as he would have got to the end of Africa, as soon as he would have got to the fucking deserts in the goddamn Sudan, his ass might have turned around. It took people a long time to come down that damn river. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so lush at a point, what the fuck you gonna leave for? You got fresh water, unlimited amount of food. You understand? I mean, what else is you gonna leave for? And so, you know, it took our people a long time to get down that damn river. But as soon as they got into goddamn out of Egypt and going into them other areas, they would have turned their black ass right back around because they would have known they was going in the wrong fucking direction. What would make them continue to go into areas that was totally, you know, void of animal life and water and, you know what I'm saying? And this, what would make a motherfucker keep going? He gonna turn back around. So that's bullshit. Our people was on the water. They was moving as navigators. That's why you see everywhere that, you know, all these civilizations, they start right there on the coastline. Why? Because they selling in. They selling in. You ain't just going to go to the coast and start. If you're developing from the north down, ain't no way you going to, wait a minute, let me show y'all something. If they ain't got there, if they start in the top of the United States, and they come in with civilization, you're going to see civilization all the way down to Mexico. You ain't going to walk all the way to Mexico because it's going to take your ass a long time. You don't even know where the fuck you're going. So it probably took them thousands, talking about the Asians that came in, it probably took them thousands of fucking years to get across that shit and down. You know what I'm saying? And so they would have left civilization from the top all the way to the bottom. You see what I'm saying? You don't see nothing up there. They don't have no language. They ain't got no stone structures. They don't have that. They got small, you know, pottery and, you know, they got to, you know, and we'll give you credit for that. We'll give you an A for effort. But you ain't in no goddamn running with the Africans. So you see right here, you know, the ocean currents between Africa and South America. You can see that it's easy to come across. It's not a problem. And you can see these are just, you know, a few currents. It's currents going all through there. So we proven with beyond it. And so you can see how, you know, and then when you go do the research and you go watch this silly ass documentary tracing the origins of America, and they'll say, yeah, it wasn't no damn Indian, it was a dark, you know, but they'll go to Australia. Now how the fuck is you gonna go way to Australia? But, you know, and we could prove that the Africans was there first. We talking about the tightly woolly head African. We ain't talking about the one after the fact. You know what I'm saying? With the looser curl. We talking about the straight up, you know, like lamb's wool on his head. You see, we talking about that lamb's wool afro. And so, you know, they was on there, they was all through there too. Okay, so it don't make no damn, but he ain't gonna beat the African who already got highways in the ocean that's going on the same side as Brazil. They found it in Brazil. I think it was like 13 to 15,000 years old. Okay, Lucia. And we'll get to that. So it's on the side of Africa, but they're going to go to Australia. Anything to not give African they credit.